Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Agile methodology. We're really going to focus on the core ideas from the Agile in PMP document. You know, PMP, that big project management certification.
Right.
Think of this as, well, a quick way to grasp this flexible approach to getting things done, especially when things are a bit uncertain.
Exactly. And we're using this document to pull out let's say, the essence of Agile, why it's become so important, and maybe highlight some interesting bits that might surprise you.
Yeah, even if you're new to project management or, maybe you're deep in software development already, we want to make it clear and useful for you.
That's the plan. Make it really clear, really relatable.
Okay, so Agile. The first thing, really, is this Agile mindset. It's not just tools, is it? It's more of a way of thinking.
Absolutely. The document stresses that. It's fundamentally about adaptability, about embracing change rather than fighting it.
And when does it really work best?
Well, the document points out its sweet spot. Projects where you don't have everything figured out up front, when requirements might shift.
Right. If it's all crystal clear, maybe traditional works fine.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But if you need to deliver value bit by bit, learn as you go, and kind of steer the ship, that's where Agile really comes into its own.
Okay. And this mindset leads to 4 core values. These are like the bedrock, yeah.
They are the foundation.
First one, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, so people over process.
That's the gist. It's a pretty radical idea, actually, compared to older models. It suggests that, motivated teams talking to each other, that's more powerful than rigid rules and fancy software.
So the human element is key.
Totally.
Yeah.
The creativity, solving problems, it comes from people working together well. Tools should help, not hinder that.
Makes sense. Second value, working software over comprehensive documentation. That sounds maybe a bit controversial. Less paperwork.
Well, it can sound that way, but it's about priority. Get something working, something tangible out there. Don't get bogged down writing massive documents instead of building the actual thing.
So documentation still happens, but it supports the software.
Exactly. No documentation is just not the main goal. The goal is the working product. Like a map is useful, but you actually want to get somewhere.
Right. Okay, third, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This sounds like building more of a partnership.
Yeah, definitely. Moving away from that kind of arm's length, purely contractual thing, it's about working with the customer constantly.
Like being on the same team?
Kind of. Think continuous feedback, evolving the product together instead of just sticking rigidly to an initial agreement that might be, well, out of date by week 3.
Got it. And the last one, responding to changeover, following a plan. Back to adaptability again.
Yes, this one really loops back to the core mindset. Plans are fine, necessary even, as a starting point. But things change, right? So you need a system that expects change, that can react to it effectively, rather than just, blindly following step 1, step 2, step 3 when step 2 is suddenly irrelevant.
Okay, so those are the values. Then the document goes into 12 Agile principles, which it says kind of build on these values.
They extend them, make them more concrete.
And there are a few that really stood out to me, like this whole thing around team empowerment, building projects around motivated people, the importance of face-to-face talk.
Yes, this is crucial. The idea is if people are motivated and trusted, and they have the autonomy to figure things out, they'll do better work. They'll be more engaged.
And the face-to-face thing, is that still relevant with remote work?
Well, the principle highlights the efficiency of direct conversation. Less gets lost in translation than email, right?
Yeah.
Even video calls try to replicate that. It links to self-organizing teams. The team itself figures out the how.
That's quite a shift from top-down command, isn't it?
Huge shift.
Then there's continuous delivery. Satisfying the customer early and often, welcoming changing requirements, even late. That sounds potentially chaotic.
It does on the surface, but think about it. Delivering working stuff frequently means you get feedback constantly.
Like course correction.
Exactly. It keeps you on track. And welcoming changes, well, it means you build what the customer actually needs in the end, not just what they thought they needed 6 months ago.
Reduces the risk of building the wrong thing.
Precisely. And that connects to the principle that working product is the primary measure of progress. Not reports, not hours spent, but actual usable stuff.
Right. Show, don't just tell. Okay, what about technical excellence and simplicity? How does being technically good make you more agile?
Good question. Because good design, clean code, Solid testing that makes your system easier to change later. It's like having a well-organized workshop versus a messy garage. You can find tools and adapt faster.
Okay. Less brittle.
Exactly. And simplicity, that principle about maximizing the work not done. It's about focus. Don't build gold-plated features nobody asked for. Keep it lean, keep it focused on value, avoid the clutter.
Less clutter, faster movement. Got it. And then reflection and adaptation. Teams regularly stopping to reflect, using retrospectives.
This is so important. It's the built-in improvement loop. At the end of an iteration, the team looks back. What went well? What didn't? What can we try differently next time?
Like a team checkup.
Exactly. Keeps the team healthy, always learning, always getting better.
And the document also mentions business folks and developers working together daily. Was that not always a thing?
You'd be surprised. Sometimes you have these silos, right? Business side throws requirements over the wall. Dev team builds something, throws it back.
And hope it's right.
Pretty much,
Agile.
Agile says. Break down those walls. Constant collaboration ensures everyone's aligned. Problems get spotted early. Much more efficient.
Okay, mindset, values, principles.
Right.
Check. Now, who are the actual people involved? The key roles. The document lists 3.
Right. First up, the Scrum Master. And the description is key. Servant leader.
Servant leader. What does that mean in practice?
It means their job isn't to boss people around. It's to serve the team, help them work effectively, remove roadblocks, impediments, they call them.
Like if they need software access or a decision made?
Exactly. Anything slowing them down. The Scrum Master shields the team and helps them stick to Agile practices, kind of like a coach and protector.
Okay. Then the product owner, voice of the customer. They own the product backlog.
Yes. The product's backlog is basically the master list of everything that could be done for the product. Features, fixes, ideas.
The big wish list.
Sort of, but crucially, it's prioritized. The product owner's job is to understand what the customer and business need most and translate that into this ordered list. They decide what gets built when to maximize value.
That sounds like a really important role.
It is. Huge responsibility.
And the third role, team members, described as self-organizing, accountable, and they pick their own work.
Yeah, within the scope of a sprint, the team figures out how best to tackle the selected backlog items. They pull work rather than having it assigned piece by piece.
Interesting. So it fosters ownership.
That's the idea. Plus, these teams are usually cross-functional. They have all the skills needed, design, coding, testing, whatever, right there in the team.
And the document mentions team size under 12 and T-shaped individuals. What's that?
Smaller teams just communicate better, generally. Easier to stay aligned. T-shape means people have deep expertise in one area, the vertical bar of the T, but also broader skills in other areas, the horizontal bar.
Ah, so they're not just specialists. They can help each other out.
Exactly. Reduces bottlenecks, makes the team more flexible. Someone's sick, maybe someone else can pick up some of their slack. It's about building resilience and, yeah, learning from mistakes together.
Okay, now, estimation. With all this flexibility, how do you estimate work? It seems tricky. The document mentions lightweight techniques.
Yeah, Agile avoids trying to make super precise, long-range guesses. It's more about relative sizing and short-term forecasts. One way is ideal hours.
Ideal hours.
How long would this task take if you had 0 interruptions, perfect focus? You know, the dream.
Never happens.
Exactly. But it's a starting point for comparison. Then there's affinity estimation.
How does that work?
The team looks at user stories, those feature descriptions, and basically groups them by size, like small, medium, large, quick, consensus-based.
Okay. And the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
Using numbers like 1, 2, 3, 5, 8.
Right. The increasing gaps between the numbers reflect increasing uncertainty. It's easier to tell the difference between a 1 and a 2 than between a 20 and a 21, right? It acknowledges that big tasks are harder to estimate accurately.
That makes intuitive sense. And planning poker sounds fun.
It can be. Team members use numbered cards, like Fibonacci numbers usually, to vote on the size of a story. Everyone reveals their card at once.
Ah, so no one's influenced by the first person to speak?
Precisely. If there are big differences, the team discusses why and votes again until they reach a reasonable consensus. It gets everyone involved.
Cool. But the document stresses that these story points are team-specific.
Absolutely critical point.
Yeah.
You cannot compare Team A's velocity of 20 points with Team B's velocity of 30 points and say Team B is faster. Their points mean different things. It's only useful within a team for forecasting their own work.
Okay, got it. So how do you track progress then, if not just story points across teams? What about metrics?
Agile focuses on flow and value. Velocity, as we said, is how much work a specific team gets done per sprint, useful for that team's planning.
Okay.
Then you have lead time, how long from a request being made until it's actually delivered to the customer.
Mm.
And cycle time, how long from starting work on something to finishing it.
So measuring the whole pipeline and how long things take once started?
Exactly. And tools like value stream mapping help visualize that whole process, start to finish, to find where the delays and bottlenecks are, where is work getting stuck.
Okay, visualizing the flow. Let's talk about how the work actually gets, well, organized. The product backlog and sprint basics.
Right. So the product owner manages the product backlog that prioritized master list. They might use techniques like Moscow.
Moscow.
Must have, should have, could have, won't have this time. It's a way to categorize features to help prioritize. Or the 100-point method, where stakeholders allocate points to features. The key is focusing on high-value, maybe high-risk items first. Get the important stuff tackled early.
Makes sense. And a sprint is?
A short, fixed-length iteration, usually 1 to 4 weeks, time-boxed. During sprint planning, the team selects items from the top of the product backlog that they believe they can complete within that time box. That becomes the sprint backlog.
Their commitment for that period.
Exactly. And crucially, they need a clear definition of done.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees what criteria must be met for a backlog item to be considered truly finished. No ambiguity.
Okay, so short bursts of work. How do people stay coordinated during a sprint? You mentioned daily meetings and information radiators.
Yeah. The daily stand-up or daily scrum. It's quick. 15 minutes max. Same time, same place every day.
Stand up. So you actually stand.
Often, yeah.
Huh.
Keeps it brief. Each person quickly answers 3 things. What did I do yesterday to help the team meet the sprint goal? What will I do today? Any blockers?
Fast sync. Identify problem.
Exactly. Not a deep dive status report. Then information radiators. Big visible displays. Think charts on the wall or shared dashboards.
Like what kind of charts?
Burn down charts showing work remaining in the sprint. Burn up charts showing work completed. Kanban boards are huge. They show work flowing through stages, like to do, in progress, done, and they make work in progress, WIP, limits visible. Task boards too.
So transparency is the goal. Everyone can see what's going on.
Absolutely. Keeps everyone informed, highlights bottlenecks quickly.
Okay, makes sense. What about learning and improving, getting feedback? The document mentions sprint review and retrospective.
2 key meetings at the end of the sprint. First, the sprint review. This is not just a status meeting, it's a demo.
Showing the actual work done.
Yes, the work that meets the definition of done. The team demonstrates it to the product owner, stakeholders, maybe even customers. The goal is to get feedback.
And that feedback goes where?
Back to the product owner, who might adjust the product backlog based on it. If the work is accepted, it's part of the potentially shippable product increment. If not, it might go back to the backlog.
Okay. And after the review,
Comes the sprint retrospective. This one is for the team by the team. It's about the process, not the product. How do we work together? What can we improve?
the team checkup again.
Exactly. The document mentions a 5-step process. Set the stage, get everyone comfortable, gather data, what happened, generate insights, why did it happen, decide what to do, concrete improvement actions for next sprint, and close, continuous improvement in action.
What if the project is huge, like dozens of people? Can you still use Scrum? The document mentions Scrum of Scrums.
Yeah, for larger projects needing multiple Scrum teams, you need coordination. Scrum of Scrums is one way. Basically, a representative from each team meets regularly, maybe daily or a few times a week.
Like a stand-up for the teams.
Pretty much. They discuss progress, dependencies between teams, upcoming integrations, and any cross-team impediments. It helps keep all the teams aligned when working on the same overall product.
Got it. Scaling the coordination. Now, quality and efficiency. TDD and lean came up.
Right. Test-driven development, TDD, it's a coding practice. You write a small automated test first for the tiny piece of functionality you're about to add.
Write the test before the code.
Yep. Obviously, the test fails because the code doesn't exist yet. Then you write the absolute minimum code needed to make that specific test pass. Then you clean up or refactor the code. Cycle repeats.
So quality is baked in from the start.
That's the goal. High test coverage, confidence in making changes later, and lean principles tie in nicely. Lean is all about eliminating waste.
Waste, like what? Unfinished work, defects, waiting time.
All of those, yes. Anything that doesn't add value for the customer. By focusing on waste reduction, you aim to shorten lead time and cycle time, delivering value faster. Value stream mapping is a key lean tool for spotting that waste.
Okay. There is also this interesting phrase, osmotic communication in co-located teams.
Yeah, it's the idea that when people work physically close together, information just kind of flows. You overhear conversations, you absorb context passively, like osmosis.
Ah, so you pick things up without needing a formal meeting.
Exactly. It boosts alignment, transparency, catches misunderstandings faster. It's a big benefit of having a team in the same room. Distributed teams need to work harder to replicate that digitally.
Right, more deliberate communication needed remotely. Finally, how does Agile handle big unknowns? The document mentioned spikes.
Spikes are basically short, time-boxed research tasks. You use them when you need to learn something to reduce uncertainty or risk before committing to a full feature.
Like a mini experiment.
Kind of. There are architectural spikes, maybe to test out a new technology or approach, like a quick proof of concept, and risk spikes to investigate a specific worry, like can our system handle this expected load?
And time box means,
They have a set duration. You don't let them drag on forever. The goal is learning, not necessarily building production code, just enough to answer the question or reduce the risk.
wow, okay, that covers a lot ground from that Agile and PMP document. It's definitely way more than just a process.
It really is. It's a mindset shift, isn't it? Back to those core values, focusing on people, on working results, on collaboration, on being ready for change. It's designed for complexity.
Like that road trip idea, know the destination, but be ready to change the route.
Exactly. You navigate based on what you find.
So, for you listening, maybe think about this. What assumptions about rigid planning does Agile really challenge? And how could that maybe shift your perspective, even outside of work projects?
Yeah, could that principle of responding to change help you plan a family vacation better? Or maybe tackle a personal goal more effectively, iterating as you learn? It's worth considering where a bit more flexibility might lead to, well, better outcomes for you.
Definitely something to chew on. Hopefully, this deep dive gave you a solid handle on the core ideas.
Yeah, a foundation to explore further if something really grabbed you. Thanks for joining us.